Welcome, everybody, to Real Wreckers,
where we are all things movie,
all things TV,
all things nerd.
Today on Real Wreckers,
we talking about the evil, the grime, the grit,
the crime-ridden
villainy.
This is one that I hold very near and dear to my heart because, as you know, as you Dalton know, and as you listeners will know, I'm a Gemini and am every red flag that can possibly be associated with being a Gemini, including loving villains.
You're absolutely enticed by evil, by villainy.
What is my favorite movie of all time?
Joker.
Yep,
2019, Hawkwing Phoenix.
What's my second favorite movie of all time? You probably know it. You can probably guess.
What genre is it?
It is a superhero movie.
Oh boy.
Can you guess?
Is it Batman?
No.
It's not Batman.
Avengers: Infinity War, where the villain wins.
I thought that was your third.
Nope, that's the second.
Oh.
And up there.
What is your third then? I might have them swapped.
Third's probably Hot Fuzz.
Never mind. I'm wrong.
Ain't that a switch?
you know. Same genre, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, but another one up there is Revenge of the Sith, where again, villain wins.
Oh wow.
I love it when a villain wins.
I think you appreciate more not hero turns villain, more like victim turns anti-hero turns villain.
Exactly.
Like victim from the get-go.
Put a pin in that because that'll be brought up in our discussion later on.
And before we even started, shout out to Haley's Comet for
absolutely.
shouting out the Real Wreckers. Also, Haley's Comet, just a heads up, you left your drive plugged in. Don't worry, it recorded everything. I have it in front of me, so next time I see you, just let me know. I'm in the building Monday to Thursday, 8 to 11 usually, or later. Just a 4-1. You can drop it off at tech services. Or stop by tech services Monday through Thursday. I'm going to put your name on it in bright yellow tape and letters just so nothing happens to it because, shout out to Haley's Comet. We don't let other shows get, we don't let them get we don't let them get screwed over because this is important to us.
Exactly.
So just a shout out to Haley's Comet. Come get your flash drive. I have it. I'll give it to you whenever I see you.
And if we don't see you and we just pass by you, well, it's going up for bid on eBay.
No. Come on. I know how much everyone cherishes their drives. I would probably beyond breakdown crying if I found out anything happened to. We're recording, right? If anything happened to our flash drive. That is why I am such a stinge. I'm usually not a grump, but when it comes to backing up information at this point, I've had a couple close to villain moments today, and I don't want to see someone else become a villain.
I have a close to villain moment almost every single hour.
Every single moment.
Exactly.
My villain moment is almost every moment.
So while we're on the subject of that, we are going this episode to count down our. I listed 10.
I have 10.
We are going to count down our 10 favorite villains of all time, whether they're movie, TV, book, video game, anything. Everything's up for grabs.
All things nerd villains.
Literally, it's our tagline. We are doing all things movie, all things TV, all things nerd, all related to the villains.
Villainy, evil, and the dichotomy of
the villain.
Exactly. What makes what are the quote-unquote categories or very, very blurred lines of the boxes some of them might fit in.
And this will actually be very, very telling for us because we've both done our separate lists, so this will tell you and ourselves what we consider as the greatest criteria to be a villain. What makes a great villain in our eyes? Mm-hmm. So with that said, it is fair to say this is all subjective. It's just us. This is just our opinions based on our reasonings, our individual reasonings. If you don't agree, that's fine.
Argue with us on Instagram and TikTok at Real Wreckers.
I guarantee you some of the most objectively best villains of all time will not be on either of our lists. I know I have one objective villain in mind that I just can't put on my list.
Because
I don't have a real connection with him.
But they are just, in hindsight, a good villain. Just
They are
not too,
objectively one of the best. They are objectively
just
one
not
of the most iconic.
just not one of your best.
Yes.
I get that.
So on top of that, one last thing to get out of the way before we get into these lists. We both agreed that horror movie villains are going to be. We're not going to mention them that much.
We say, at least for me, they kind of deserve their own
absolutely.
pieces. It would be like horror villains exclusively, just because they're their own type, not just story villains, because they are also they're not the main character, they're not the protagonist. They are an antagonization from the environment, and they are a set piece. Like, they are the centerpiece.
You don't go to a horror movie to see the main characters. You go to a horror movie to see the monster.
You play horror games if you do like the main character, so that you keep going with it, or to find out what is the protagonist or who is the protagonist, you know?
Exactly.
Like, whose perspective is this thing? Because a horror movie, it's like, okay, it's probably a bunch of teenagers.
You don't
games,
watch Halloween for Laurie Strode. You watch it for Michael Myers.
Groovy, babe. Oh, wrong mic. Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Baby Driver already made that joke.
That's my favorite thing in Baby Driver, that I was so caught off guard by. I was like, I didn't think they would actually make that mistake, like, in the story. But it makes so much more sense. I would like to think that was actually a set mistake. Like,
it was. No, actually, it wasn't.
So
it wasn't a mistake. It was written in the script that it would be the Michael Myers mask, but because of copyright issues, they couldn't get the mask.
So they're like, we said Mike Myers. Yeah, Mike Myers. Oh, Michael Myers. Like, that's why they have such
you mean Jason?
Hockey.
No!
It's like, get a Jason mask. Everyone just kept saying it's a hockey mask, so I got you helmets. It's like, yeah, that's fine. Helmets, I guess. I mean, you can see your face right through, but that's fine, I guess.
So, with that, before we get into the list, do you have any honorable mentions?
Honorable mentions?
Yeah. Or in this case,
mostly from others, like mentions that other people wanted me to go into a little more detail with. Or, from others. These are like, they'll show up in the polls probably.
Little quick ones. Little quickies. Any honorable mentions?
None that I don't think I would I can get into I can get into them into my list because they like are off splits they're honorable mentions in my list because I have the top 10 solidified, and then ones that other people bring up that came very close, like close seconds. So I'll bring them up during my top 10.
All of my honorable mentions, I do have 5, and these 5 I wanted to put on the list so badly, but I either completely forgot about them until the last minute, or as I was thinking of them, I thought of other ones. I'm like, they're moving down the list, and they're not on the list anymore.
And now they're just
they're just honorable mentions.
They're not, I was gonna say, they're not worse. They just didn't make this cut, of this official branded list. So they're like second place to what these could have been. If these who are on the list did not make it, they're right behind it. If something happens, if a universe reset happens,
exactly. One of my honorable mentions. One of my honorable mentions includes the Cybermen from Doctor Who.
Ooh. I think I know who that's second to then.
Agent Smith from The Matrix.
Of course.
Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones, because he's the only person in that entire show who has sat down on that throne and looks comfortable.
Is the name Lance short for Lannister?
No.
No? What's Lance short for? Is it just Lance?
Lance is like, I'm pretty sure it's the weapon. It's a reference to the weapon.
So Lance could have a Lannister. You know where I first heard that word? Annoying Orange. Because they kept saying, no, Lance. He's like, yes, that's my name. And then he gets stabbed with a lance because he's a hot dog.
Another one of my honorable mentions, Darth Maul.
Of course.
Kenobi. Because Clone Wars made him one of the best characters in all Star Wars.
Kenobi. Sorry, I have to.
And my last honorable mention is Hans Landa from Inglourious Bastards.
Hans Landa from Inglourious Bastards? You need to show me that so bad. It sounds like my ideal movie.
It's so good. And Christoph Waltz is so amazing. And his opening scene is perfect. That is a perfect opening scene. But again, as I was thinking, I had him on the list, but I thought of more villains. I'm like, he's moving down the list, and he's not on the list anymore.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So, while on the subject, right before we get into the list, because a whole bunch of things before the list. Mm-hmm. For the background music, I will have the world on.
Mm-hmm. When we go by each of ours.
and I will have the computer on for mine.
Beautiful.
Sound good?
For sake of speed, yes.
Exactly.
That's kind of what I had lined up already.
So with that said, since you have yours all lined up, why don't you start the list off with your number 10?
My number 10, unfortunately, that's the only thing I couldn't back with music because it's a book. Big Brother from 1984. That along
Just the
with
organization is
Big Brother is actually a single person figure, like the head of the head of a pin, the tip of a pyramid, where it's the same similar to in Princess Mononoke. There's mentions of the Emperor. Mm-hmm. We never see the Emperor. We never hear from the Emperor.
But you know it's one person.
It is one of those villains. I say acts as a force, but is a singular figure. Big Brother acts as the overarching eye that sees all but is never seen.
What?
Creates a effect on the world and characters.
That's actually interesting. Why is Big Brother like a top 10 favorite of yours?
I mean,
that's actually interesting.
1984 is one of my favorite books ever. Dystopian fiction and sci-fi is one of my favorite. It's pretty much my favorite book genre besides like.
Have you read
Slice.
Dune? Have you read Dune?
No, I need to. I actually want to read it and then watch the movies, especially the OG one.
Fair enough.
What was the census on the OG Dune? Just wondering.
The census was that it was very mixed.
Didn't it try to squeeze all the books into one movie?
Oh, absolutely. And Siskel and Ebert placed it as their worst movie of the year that it came out.
Weird. But yeah, for me, Big Brother as a idea of a villain that is also a figure, because I pretty much split my big categories as character, force, or environment, which I fit a lot of slashers as part of the environment because the characters always get tripped, they always get hurt, they always like they step on a spike.
Freddy Krueger controls the environment.
Exactly, he is an architect of that. He's literally sorry, I just had to remake the entire movie Inception. So Freddy Krueger's an architect in Dreams in Dreams. Yeah, he's nightmares in nightmares. Freddy Krueger in Inception would be insane. I'm getting off track. But Big Brother as a overall arching villain for the story allows for all of the characters to unknowingly experience an entire actual surveillance state in a story and creates every major rule, event, and interaction without even like having a direct effect on anything that isn't just the overall world. I never know how to pronounce it because the continent of Australia is Oceania, but this is Oceania.
Yep.
How do you say that? Oceania.
I got the music up and running for this.
Thank you.
I knew there had to be something because there was a movie made about it.
Oceania. Yeah, we're gonna struggle on this. The entire
Oceania.
Santa Fernando Candro, But yeah, the music of this. I need to rewatch the short film. It's been a while.
It's not a short film. It's a full-on movie.
Oh, I'm thinking of another short film made of it though. There's a bunch of adaptations. None were like official, big theater release, not quite as known. The similar to way one of my favorite abduction movies is technically a drama piece, like a biodrama. But yeah, Big Brother from 1984 has minions who are more of its direct force that it enacts, where it has a phantom hand over everything. And that as a villain creates a constant goal for the main character to possibly never actually reach, to never touch. Kind of like how Bilbo or what's his nephew's name? Frodo. I always want to say Bobo. Bilbo and Bobo. Bilbo and Frodo never really see Sauron besides the eye. The same way, what is the main character in 1904? Why all my thoughts just left me as soon as I started. I literally had like a whole essay in my head written up. But pretty much the way that the entire story runs, all of the horror, all of the uprising that tries to start, all of the liberation that we see, that we read unfold in the story, pretty much allows for Big Brother to literally be the worst possible force to enact on the planet and serve as a like outline for a warning. That along with the houses in Fahrenheit, specifically the
So your number 10 is basically just an overarching shadow.
Yes, that where it's not just a big force because it is a character. We know that there is a single person who is technically at the control of all of this.
It is the metaphorical eye of Sauron, always watching.
Yes. Although technically a more recent, when I say recent, literally just not as old, but not as old, if you know what I mean. Predicting multiple horrors along with Fahrenheit. I think Fahrenheit predicted slightly more besides like the book burning. I don't think that was really a prediction. That was just more like destruction of knowledge.
Well, I mean, to be fair, how rare are book readings nowadays compared to just reading on your phone?
Audiobooks. I say audiobooks are kind of better sometimes, unless you're deaf, then you can read.
There you
like,
go. There was the
books.
metaphorical burning of books.
But no, it's more like, I guess, burned onto hard drives. That would be the metaphor of it. But the houses in Fahrenheit also enact this same level because it accidentally predicted smart houses. Think about it. Smartphone controls your thermometer, controls your doors, controls your door locks, controls your television, controls your internet, controls your history. Overarching control like that. And technically, you can summarize it to a single figurehead, whoever the head of a large tech brand might be. Also, I forget.
Zuckerberg.
Yeah, he's one of them. He more has a control over a digital space and technology, and maybe more of like your Tesla could just black out at any moment because it's entirely electronic.
Doctor Who did an episode on that.
Yeah, I think I also saw like a thing where someone's Tesla actually like blacked out on the highway. The screen went off, the headlights went off because the entire thing. It's like your phone black screening while it's still on. So I accidentally called the cops when I did that because I tried to do a hard reset, but my volume button was all the way up, so it thought I was doing the volume up power button combo. But stories like that where a supreme force over an entire country, when pretty much a government is a corporation, like simultaneously a government and a corporation, allows for the entire planet to pretty much be dysfunctionally perfect or imperfectly functional to the point where groups of people have no independence over each other and any sort of small liberation of your personal freedoms. In the book, it was more actually sex liberation because pretty much reproduction in the book was expressed as just a utilitarian idea for just population. It's all for population. It's not supposed to be done. What is it called when you do something for fun? The word for that, like
frivolously.
Frivolous.
Frivolously.
Yeah. Or like just communally being able to actually freely enact on any normal
Casually.
thing. Yeah, casually. I guess what is it called when they try to legalize marijuana? It's called just recreational. When things that are often recreational are made utilitarian in a story, a villain like that crap as something we never see that creates something unnatural. So a story like that where the war outside of Oceania is fake, the villain is never seen, but yet all of this directly influences the main character in all of their struggles and constantly creates a long-spanning story for them to try to get to this goal and makes the story interesting. So, sorry, I went on like a rant, but yeah, number 10, Big Brother.
Number 10 is Big Brother from 1984 for you?
Yes.
All right. My number 10, I don't have music for this one, like you, but that's just because I couldn't find any like noteworthy music for him. So I will just sum up my villain in one question. What is the most you've ever lost in a coin toss? My number 10 is Anton Chigurh, or whatever his last name is Anton from No Country for Old Men, played by Javier Bardem.
I thought you were going to do Two-Face because of the coin flip thing.
Nope. That is the most terrifying scene involving a coin flip by far. He's my number 10 just because we know nothing about him. We know he's a man for hire in charge of acquiring drug money. And that's it. The rest of him is complete mystery. And he is a man on a mission. He is loyal to himself, he is loyal to his job, and he will complete it no matter the cost, no matter how many lives have to get in the way. He's not a bloodthirsty killer, but he will get the job done. And just that conviction in his face. Like, I'll show it to Dalton right here. That conviction in his face. That just, there is no emotion. There is nothing in his eyes. No mercy. There is no anger. There is just the job.
And we know nothing about this character. Like
we know
backstory-wise.
We know almost nothing. Nothing about this character.
Antoine Wait.
See why I couldn't pronounce the last name?
Shigurth.
Sugar.
Sugar. I thought it was a T.
Anton Sugar.
Sugar.
And just anything can set him off. Anything can set him off. Like
he kind of looks like old Anthony Padilla, if he kept the emo hair. Like if it just grew out.
That's the kind of the whole horror behind the performance. His hair and his clothing is supposed to not match with how he looks.
And it looks very still. It doesn't look like it would move at all.
Exactly. Like there is so much psychology and there's so much intrigue to him because we know about him so little, but from what we know of his victims or his would-be victims, there's so much that his character tells from just the performance, from just the little dialogue that he's given, and just like the overall atmosphere whenever he's on screen, the ruthless atmosphere when he's on screen. It's just something about him that you're always drawn to, that you want to know more about him. But you feel like the closer you get to him, the more you will get burned. He
is the villain embodiment of fire. We want to touch it, we want to hold it, we want to know why or what it is, but it only hurts us to get closer.
Exactly. Have you ever seen No Country for Old Men?
No, I'm supposed to though. I think it's another one of my classics list that I'm supposed to get to.
I just need to show you this one scene because
I want to see this.
It's such a good scene.
What is that cute little lawnmower ad?
That is adorable.
Is it a tiny Honda? That's funny.
It's kind of like a Roomba for your
lawn Roomba. Imagine you accidentally step on that. I'm watching this.
This is that
coin toss scene. Oh, I've seen this clip. I think.
69 scene.
And the gas.
Y'all getting any rain up your way?
What way would that be?
I seen you was from Dallas.
What business is it of yours? Where I'm from? Friendo?
I didn't mean nothing by it.
Didn't mean nothing.
Just passing the time. If you don't want to accept that, I don't know what else I can do for you. Maybe something else.
I don't know. Will there?
He's just eating peanuts this entire time.
The entire time.
Is something wrong
With what?
with anything?
Is that what you're asking me? Is there something wrong with anything?
Will there be anything else?
You already asked me that.
Well, I need to see about closing now.
This cashier did nothing except notice that he had Nevada license plates in Texas.
I want him to I would start backing away or just hide under the desk by that point.
Yeah.
Be about closing.
Yes, sir.
What time do you close?
Now, we close now.
Now is not a time. What time do you close?
Generally around dark. At dark.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
Sir?
I said, you don't know what you're talking about. What time do you go to bed?
Sir?
You're a bit deaf, aren't you? I said, what time do you go to bed?
Somewhere around 9:30. I'd say around 9:30.
I could come back then.
Why would you be coming back? We'll be closed.
Yeah, you said that.
Well, I got to close now.
You live in that house out back.
Yes, I do.
You lived here all your life?
This was my wife's father's place originally.
You married into it?
We lived in Temple, Texas for many years. Raised a family there in Temple. We come out here about 4 years ago.
You married into it?
That's the way you want to put it.
I don't have some way to put it. That's the way it is. What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss?
Sir?
The most you ever lost on a coin toss?
I don't know. I couldn't say.
Call it.
Call it.
Yes.
For what?
Just call it.
Well, we need to know what we're calling it for here.
You need to call it. I can't call it for you. Well, it wouldn't be fair.
I didn't put nothing up.
Yes, you did. You've been putting it up your whole life. You just didn't know it. You know what date is on this coin?
No.
1958. It's been traveling 22 years to get here. And now it's here. And it's either heads or tails. And you have to say, call it.
Look, I need to know what I stand to win.
Everything.
How's that?
You stand to win everything, call it.
All right. Heads then.
Well done. Don't put it in your pocket.
Sir?
Don't put it in your pocket. It's your lucky quarter.
Where you want me to put it?
Anywhere not in your pocket. Or it'll get mixed in with the others and become just a coin. Which it is.
Whoa. I can.
That last line got me too. Like, don't put it in your pocket. Where do you want me to put it? Anywhere but not your pocket. Or else it'll get mixed in with all the others and just become another coin. Which it is.
I don't want to.
Like,
I need to see this.
What is your backstory? What are you?
You know, I kind of want to see something for films like that where I don't want a trailer. I just want one scene to know what I'm expecting.
You want like a
tease scene, just a
like
little
a
quick clip.
Like just one clip, and that's the trailer.
I just want a sneak peek like that. You can even cut it down to the last bit just to get that tension, so that I want to see the rest of this. Because then you treat it like a work in progress. It's like, all right, here's the concept, here's how it will play out, here's how it will look, and I'm already intimidated. I want to know how scared am I going to get seeing this whole thing in action.
Anton is a mystery with a history behind him, and that's why he's my number 10.
You like mysteries with histories?
Exactly.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. Wow. So you're number 10, 9.
My
Or 10, sorry.
Yep, that was my number 10. What's your number 9?
My number 9.
Going
Turn
down
up
the list.
Turn up the world.
Turn it up.
My number 9. King Ghidorah.
Ooh.
Yeah. My favorite villain in a monster movie. The king themselves, because it's 3 heads. The king themselves.
Themselves.
Yeah, themselves. King Ghidorah, the ultimate villain of Godzilla, besides Space Godzilla, or Mechagodzilla, or Rodan. Okay.
One of the other villains.
Godzilla's ultimate king opposition.
Except Kong.
Well, Kong wasn't king the next time they fought. Kong
Which
was-
is weird, because you'd think that with a title like Godzilla vs. Kong, you'd think that Kong would win and thus become, he earned the title of King Kong.
Technically, I guess, kinda, but Ghidorah as technically the final boss for Godzilla every single time, really, no matter what era. And honestly, this steps into something we might do in a future episode. You know, tracing back to movies such as this one. This is Kaiser Ghidorah's theme specifically, which
It's a good theme. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, I think this movie has some of the best Godzilla music. Period. It has a lot of monsters who I want to see under Legendary's belt.
Such as?
Rodan.
Well, yeah.
And Anguirus.
Rodan's getting I'm pretty sure he's getting his own
Series.
series, maybe his own movie. I know it's getting one of.
I want each monster to just have their own episode of a series, like a sub series where we explore each monster, because they actually all, instead of getting their whole movie, because then they would have to interlace that very quickly and try to build a big piece of stuff. I don't want people. That's the big thing.
Yeah, the people in the monster movies are always just the dead weight that you have to get through.
I will say,
Godzilla
Godzilla 2014 is still, I actually didn't mind the people view, because we stuck with someone neutral enough that it's mostly like, as long as we're just like running behind him as an audience. I did just hate the casting, though. I'm sorry. You just
Really?
can't. They play twins in another movie and they're married in this one, you know?
Yeah. That makes it awkward.
That's my big, like,
Well, to be fair, that was 2014, and Age of Ultron, where they premiered, was
before.
2015.
I thought that was. Oh, never mind. You're right. Age of Ultron. I keep thinking Avengers 1 because that's 2012.
Yep.
But yeah, Ghidorah as Godzilla's ultimate enemy, essentially, because Godzilla has the anti-villain, fights for his territory, not necessarily for Earth. Mothra fights for Earth and people, humanity. Godzilla fights for territory. Ghidorah exists to either plow the road for aliens, because Ghidorah in pretty much every
He's an alien.
Yes.
Even in Legendary, he's confirmed alien.
Yes. Every incarnation of Ghidorah is always an alien, and always starting as the one thing that Godzilla struggles first. Every time Godzilla fights, usually whatever villain it is in the story, Anguirus, Rodan, whoever, always has the upper hand in the first round up until like they get back up or humanity tries to fight Godzilla 2, or the aliens have like some space ray or some stuff. Ghidorah always wins first every time, and pretty much it always takes like some sort of an intervention to stop Godzilla from getting killed a lot of the time. I'm trying to think. For Ghidorah, though, I would just say the build-up of a post-Ghidorah fight also, or the pre, because in every instance, it's usually unexpected. In Final War is one of my favorite movies ever, really. Excuse me. Ghidorah is not expected to happen, actually, at first, because the monster that it is at first looks nothing like Ghidorah. So it's like a twist villain, I would say, because this monster is literally just called Monster X first, and then like we don't know who this is. We've never seen him in an older movie, so we're really confused at first. Okay, who's Godzilla losing to, and why do they have a tri-ray?
So why is Ghidorah your number 9? Because number 10 is like an overarching shadow. That's the reason. So what is the reason behind number 9?
Ghidorah acts as a final boss for such a long-spanning IP or franchise that Ghidorah is classic, not quite depthful up until recently. Yeah, with Legendary's Ghidorah having a lot more behind it rather than just aliens spawned the monster. I put it a little lower, especially for nostalgia reasons, because I have a lot of nostalgia for that. Ghidorah, I think, just serves as a put in check as one of like the three, Mothra, Godzilla, Ghidorah. That's like the trinity always. Is Mothra fights, is like, chaotic good. Godzilla is chaotic neutral, and Ghidorah is chaotic evil. But because they're all monsters, they're chaotic by nature, so they're all just good, neutral, evil. Okay,
so your reason, I'm not saying this like I'm mocking you or making fun of you. I'm saying this like an actual sincere thing. Your reasoning is because of your it's because it's part of your nostalgia trinity.
I would say so.
Okay,
that's why
I'm saying this sincerely because some of my villains were the same way.
Exactly. I totally get that. I'm not insulted, honestly.
Yeah.
But with Ghidorah, there's just a lot of backing nostalgia, along with a really good story to serve for a villain. It's always because the end game for Godzilla is always started on some crazy, way beyond humanity, wasn't it, bikini nuclear experiments in 1954. Mm-hmm. It always starts there, no matter what Godzilla it is. And then whatever time later on, the old one after the old one like dies or something, whatever the new Godzilla of that movie is, because they all stem from the 1954. Yeah. Fights whatever monster or fights humanity, something happens. Once everything on Earth is kind of ran through, the next logical step is always, well, what's going to fight Godzilla next? Something from space. It's always something from space, whether it is Space Godzilla, any of the other monsters like Gigan, or trying to think, Destroya. Destroya was made in a lab. It's always something made in a lab fights Godzilla, Mothra fights Godzilla, some crazy monster spawned from some Earth thing, and then space. It's always something from space is like the end game, because fights on Earth, once it calms down, aliens. They wait for every time. The aliens always wait for like the calmest period when Godzilla has nothing else to like be distracted by, and then they come for the taking and then wipe out Godzilla because there's nothing else to distract them.
Okay, so that is your so Ghidorah is your number 9?
Yes, always serving as an endgame villain for Godzilla. And
I'm not gonna lie. What you've been saying now, I kind of want to do a Godzilla episode. I want to analyze the villain. I want to analyze the monsters of Godzilla and how they metaphorically are analogies for stuff that has happened in history. Much like how Godzilla is an analogy. I want to...
Actually, Godzilla is multiple analogies and a possible future guest for our episode. This is probably going to ride off of once our Ghibli run is over.
Yes.
Pretty much the genre they're talking about, it's called... I'm trying to find it. It's, they sent me a bunch of videos. It's about... The genre is called Tokusatsu. Godzilla Final Wars was technically my first one of those because it had the Power Rangers. The Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles. It's usually Eastern inspired. It's not anime because it's always live action. It's usually people in suits, people in spandex. Technically, you know who started that? Japanese Spider-Man.
Huh.
The Japanese Spider-Man started this whole thing. Now, I don't want to get into it too much because this is
a topic for another show. This is a topic that we are going to do for another show. We already have this scheduled for like after we do Ghibli.
Yes, just you and I just have to do a little bit of studying for the genre itself because we're both familiar with it, but we didn't know that it was a
it was a legitimate genre.
It's very niche, but it's very deep. Okay?
Have you ever seen Kamen Riders?
What was it?
Have you ever seen Kamen Riders?
Kamen Riders.
Yeah, it's a show like Power Rangers, but
I'm thinking of something Rider,
But
not Ghost Rider.
it's like Power Rangers, but there's death. There's legitimate death, and it's awesome.
I actually might have seen it, and I'm trying to remember. It's like something Rider.
It was on 4Kids. Do you remember 4Kids? There was an actual
Wasn't that when they tried to turn the blood white in Dragon Ball? Was that the one where they tried to turn like a bunch of...
They made it look like spit instead of blood.
Yes, so when they spit up blood, it's literally just like them getting the wind knocked
Which,
out
to
of
be
them.
fair, not the worst example of censoring. Not because that does kind of make sense when they're spitting out, but when they're bleeding it from like their bodies,
yeah,
that's when it gets weird. Is it
no,
sweat?
in television when they try to like go on TV 14, it's like, you friend, like you son of a burden, you son of a beach ball. they just like poorly dub it over with like a random word that has the same first letter.
All right, so you're number 9, King Ghidorah.
Ghidorah, yeah, King Ghidorah.
My number 9.
Or Kaiser Ghidorah.
You're gonna get pissed.
Oh.
My number 9. Gustavo Fring from Breaking Bad. I know you probably have him higher on your list, but for me, he is number 9.
Oh man.
Because he is...
Can you get that one clip that I asked for?
Yes.
I keep talking.
Can get the clip.
Keep talking.
Because...
and you saw Breaking Bad and El Camino?
I've seen Breaking Bad and El Camino. I've seen the first episode of Better Call Saul and nothing else.
Trust me when I say, how much did you like Breaking Bad?
I think objectively it is a flawless show. For some reason, it never resonated with me.
This, I believe, based on the television that you like, Better Call Saul, I think, could resonate with you more than Breaking Bad. For some people...
Hello.
This is the clip you wanted, right? The clip.
Play it.
Hello. And welcome to the Los Pollos Hermanos family. My name is Gustavo, but you can call me Sus.
Oh, we're 14. We're immature. We're so immature.
God.
Can you just play? Wait, can you just play the entire Los Pollos Hermanos instructional video? Just
I want to give my reasons.
Okay.
I want to give my reasons.
Okay, do the show. We can't just play music. Okay.
I know.
So, Gustavo Fring.
I had to use the clip for No Country for Old Men, but there was no explaining why Anton was my number 10 unless you saw it for yourself.
Yeah, show not tell.
Gustavo Fring, I can explain. I can explain why he's awesome.
Go into depth.
For one, he is legitimately a psychopath. He can switch expressions like nothing. He goes from "Hi, welcome to Los Pollos Hermanos" to "Do you have the money?" He steps out into a hail of gunfire while all of his men are trying to prevent his assassination. He just walks out into the desert in open line of fire and just says, "Go on, shoot me," and nothing happens. And by God, when he kills Victor, it is incredible. When he kills Victor, he just...
Spoiler warning, by the way, guys. Sorry.
It's so old. It's so old. I'm
In
pretty
case
sure it's
someone
like...
I know who I'm trying to get to watch it is listening, don't worry. It takes so much context to try to actually get spoiled.
When Walter is just trying to convince him that what they did, that's something that they had to do, in order for him and Jesse to survive. When he's trying to explain himself, and Gustavo Fring is just getting suited up into an actual uniform, goes up to one of his men who was supposed to stop Walter from doing anything insane.
Box cutter. All you gotta say.
Gets out a box cutter.
That's all you gotta say, man. It's box cutter.
And then brr,
Brr, gone.
and then everyone's speechless. Even the hitmen that are right behind him, completely speechless. And then no expression. Gus puts down the body, gets undressed, gets back in a suit, and leaves. That is all you need to do in order to make yourself clear. Like, that is the ultimate intimidation tactic.
The moment of silence, I was jaw dropped.
Everyone was jaw dropped. We were all like, oh, this guy's
Oh.
not messing around.
No, this guy has never been messing around. We just didn't know how much he wasn't. How little he was not messing around.
And I don't, we all knew this. I'm going to say death. You know I have to mention death. 5, 4,
Spoiler, spoiler,
3,
spoiler, spoiler,
2.
spoiler, spoiler, spoiler.
When he dies and it explodes in his face, the half he turns into Two-Face and it's just freaking cool. He walks out into just complete shock and horror of the hospital staff, like nothing has happened, straightens his tie even though half of his face is blown off, like a pure gentleman, straightens his tie, puts his hands down, then falls. That is...
He is a example of another. I still call them villains where they are split down the middle. No, but switching from Gus to Gustavo Fring, like the cartel opposition or the anti-cartel, I guess, because he rides a line, but when he falls, he does not fall to one or the other side. The wire that he walks along, he falls and it cuts him in half.
I can say this because no one on my list I can describe as this. He is a mastermind. That is why he's my number 9. He is a mastermind. There is no better word to describe him other than like pure mastermind. He is the boss of everyone. Mm-hmm. And if you don't think he's your boss, you don't know as much as you think, because he is.
Man, I'm speechless, honestly. His entire character. You should watch Better Call Saul too, because you can literally see the line on him. You can literally see his light switch flip when no one's looking. You can see his perfectionism in action to the most violent degree.
Samoyed.
A Samoyed. Wait, we keep seeing that Samoyed, don't we?
Yes.
Are the speakers out there on? Hey, oh, he's got AirPods on.
Yeah.
Your
Samoyed.
dog's cute. Your dog's cute.
Puppy.
Hey, puppy.
He turned. Hello.
He sees us.
Hello.
Shout out to the weather for clearing up as soon as we started, so there wasn't like thunder to scare Billy again.
Shout out to dogs.
Shout out to the Samoyed. We like Billy's favorite dog,
Yes.
Samoyed.
Well, it's between that and Aussie. Anyway,
But you can call me Sus.
But you call me sus. Gustavo Fring is my number 9 because he is a mastermind.
I cannot disagree at all.
He is a pure chess player.
Like 8-dimensional chess.
Exactly. So
Possibly one. Like also, Giancarlo Esposito is just generally an amazing villain actor.
Oh, absolutely. He's played a villain actor in 3 of the most popular pop culture franchises now. He has played the villain in Breaking Bad, Mandalorian, and The Boys.
And Far Cry 6. I think it's Far Cry 6. But yeah.
It is acting. It is acting.
I was joking. was I get goosebumps and my hair rises on my neck whenever I think about any scene. Like, perfect delivery, perfect role switching.
It's so weird because in interviews, he seems like the nicest person ever.
I would love to meet him, but I would also probably be scared if he like jokingly got into character.
Exactly.
I think he does that for fun too. To
He
fans.
does.
Like,
He scared a woman on an airplane by going into character for a joke, and he felt so bad for it.
But can I have the window seat? I was joking, or was I?
Gustavo Fring, number 9.
Oh man. Just a shout out to Haley's Comet once again, because you said Mastermind, and all I can think of was Haley's favorite movie villain, Megamind, which I say deserves a sequel still. I don't care how long it's been. I want a sequel to Megamind.
I mean, the Incredibles sequel came out how long after the first?
And you couldn't really tell, honestly. You
can tell because the animation got better.
Yeah, but like, do that to Toy Story 1 and 4. Dude.
Oh, true.
Oh my. I was gonna say.
Anyway,
Pixar animation
now
aging.
that we feel old,
Yeah.
go to your number 8.
Older.
Number 8.
My numero 8. Skull Kid from Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask. So, for all you 90s kids, I guess, and younger siblings.
You're definitely gonna have to explain this to me because I have context to Ghidorah. I have context to 1984. I do not have context to Legend of Zelda. You're gonna have to explain yourself.
Tell me what you know about Zelda.
He doesn't. Well, for one, he's Link.
Okay, you didn't call the main character Zelda. That's good. That's a step.
And he doesn't talk.
The main villain usually of Link is
Ganon. Or Ganondorf.
Exactly. Ganon is generally the monster. Ganondorf is the person. Same entity, takes a different form usually every 100
You know how
years.
I know all this?
Game theory?
No. Because of the Legend of Zelda rap that Smosh did so many years ago.
Is that all your Pokemon knowledge too?
That's all my Well,
That's just
that's all my Pokemon knowledge.
So you can enjoy Nintendo.
That's all my video game knowledge too.
I was gonna say, I feel like you're a classics guy, but you're more arcade cabinet classics more than like home console classics.
Yep.
But Skull Kid, I also had a talk with Cordo about this. Shout out to her. Pretty much for our entire discussion about Skull Kid, he is the antagonist in the sequel to Ocarina of Time, which is notably one of the best games ever, period. He is actually the same thing as Link. Link is a Kokiri kid. They are like little elf children. Technically, they're like partially immortal, where they age so slow. Kokiri kids are children forever, pretty much, and they live out in the woods. Link is raised as one. Every Link is related. It's like 100 years between each of them, generationally.
Well, now you're just making me think of a Warp Zone skit that they did.
But Skull Kid is what happens to a Kokiri kid when they get lost in what's called the Lost Woods. And pretty much he cannot die. He's also equally immortal. Link doesn't age, except for when he goes to a time temple, where once he pulls the sword out of a stone, basically. Yeah. It's like lodged in the floor. When he pulls it out,
the Master Sword.
Yes, it takes him forward in time to where this is where the timeline split happens in Zelda, because there's multiple Links, multiple timelines. One where he dies, one where he wins, one where he goes back and never goes back to Hyrule.
And one where he has Raccoon Tooie.
Shut up. Yeah, it's not multiverse as much as it is just split timeline, because it's still one timeline that just has branches. It's one tree with branches, not...
Oh, it's Flashpoint.
Yes.
Or it's a Avengers Endgame sort of thing.
It's better and different than all of them. I'm not gonna lie to you. Courtney could explain a majority of this probably better than me. Pretty much though, serving as he's a child. He will always be a child. Bullied into isolation because of his natural state. His only two friends. No matter how much he bullies them, he's just annoying. He's just a child, but because of his state, because he's
annoying. He doesn't say a word. That seems like my best friend.
No, Skull Kid talks. Link doesn't talk.
Okay. Yeah. He looks annoying.
When Link approaches Skull Kid, he scares him off of his horse, actually, where pretty much in the sequel of the game, he goes into the new area of the game because he comes from Hyrule. This is a traumatized Link that we see in the story because after he became an adult, he pretty much saves the world, and then he goes back to being a kid because he can't be an adult forever. He's 13, but he's just forced to mature. He goes through all this trauma, and so that's why he leaves, because he has nothing to go back to. His only friend is his fairy, Navi.
Hey,
and because
listen.
Because I should make that a sound. Because he's the only Kokiri that ages, because he's not actually a Kokiri. He was just raised as one, because every incarnation of Link is different technically. He can't go back, and Navi's his only friend. But Kokiri get fairies, not regular Hylians. Link's a regular Hylian who thought he was a Kokiri.
So
he loses his only friend, runs off into isolation, into the Lost Woods. That is why a lot of theories suggest that he's dead. He's not dead. He just has nothing to go back to. He might as well be dead.
So why? So what is
Skull Kid?
what is the reasoning behind him being number 8 above Ghidorah, which I thought a Godzilla villain would be higher on your list. So why is he above?
Skull Kid has much more depth. I think I could literally do an entire episode by
He has
itself.
a history behind him.
And I actually was a fan earlier because I've been a Zelda fan since I could probably breathe. Pretty much, though, Skull Kid is hard to disagree with. He tries.
You listen. I'm just gonna do that because that's all I know she does all the time.
That mask that you see with the eyes is a god trapped in a mask, and the only thing that he ever spoke to.
Oh, so it's the mask from the Jim Carrey movies.
But even scarier because he drops the moon on the planet it is a.
So he's Thanos.
No, Thanos was inspired by him. Skull Kid essentially is, imagine a bratty child accidentally gets a hold of the nuclear codes.
So he's Joffrey from Game of Thrones.
No, because he's not spoiled. He is take an orphan, bully them, give them 2 friends that he doesn't know how to socialize with, and
So it's me.
And then give him the power of a god.
Oh, so it's me in 2 years. Don't ask how I know that.
But for Skull Kid, he gets angry because the mask drives whoever wears it insane, because he plays pranks on everyone in the town, but because he is not human or Hylian. Hylians are just elf people, really. He gets outcasted by everyone, no matter what. So he is treated like he's absolutely evil, but he's literally a scared orphan who's been bullied his entire life into isolation. The only person who ever tries to reach out a helping hand, spoilers for a game from 1990, he, excuse me, Link's the only person who tries to befriend him. And that is pretty much the only thing that stops him from dropping a moon. Besides, the giants and gods exist in this, and the only other beings that he tried to befriend were the giants. Those are the other masks. The whole game revolves around masks, really, and their powers. It's very similar to Princess Mononoke in that fashion. They coincide with each other, like Zelda games and Ghibli movies kind of follow very similar story paths like that. Skull Kid essentially embodies not really a villain, just a scared child with too much power, which is actually more common than you might think for a lot of villains. You can probably think of just when does a spoiled brat become too powerful and pretty much enacts whatever he wants on the world. They just grow up to be villains. Anyone who's born into something. But he has no reason to be nice. He was only raised as an outcast. He was bullied out, and his only friends, he doesn't know how to socialize. So the only friends that he has are the ones that the main character we follow lost.
So Skull Kid is your number 8 because he is a sympathetic villain.
Yes, but also I can barely scratch the surface of how much depth he has. I feel like I'm running in circles trying to explain it. Both sympathizing and understanding why, because he just simply exists. He can't die. He's immortal. He can't make friends. He doesn't know how to socialize, because even when he tries, by nature of being a Skull Kid, he just gets shoot away. The same reason other groups, there's fish people, there's tree people. It's like a fantasy racism essentially, and he never gets any friend. So his childish mind accidentally steals, pranks a random mask salesman. Most masks in the game don't actually have magic. He accidentally steals a chaos mask. He just accidentally steals this god embodied in a mask, and he, in his childish rage, tries to drop the moon on a planet.
Okay, so what is the one phrase description that you would use to describe the type of villain he is.
Sympathy. Or sympathy for me, how I describe him, because you...
Sympathetic.
Yes.
Okay. So, with that said, let's move on to my number 8.
Let's hear it.
My number 8, Judge Claude Frollo from Hunchback of Notre Dame.
That's your number 8?
That's my number 8. And going to our polls, which we will pop up as the answers come in. Going back to our polls, one of the polls was, who's your favorite movie villain? Moss Friend did in fact say Claude Frollo from Hunchback is genuinely very scary because he's very real, in my opinion. Also, a killer villain song, which I can wholeheartedly agree with that.
Turn that
last
volume
statement.
up. This is my number 7, by the way.
This is your number 7?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna knock 2 birds out with 1 stone.
Exactly.
Ugh. Okay, so my reasoning for just why he's such a good villain is A, because he's such an edgy villain in a Disney movie.
Dark Gothic.
Dark Gothic. He is in a Disney movie. He is lusting over a woman. He is sniffing her hair. It's disgusting. It's
He's
despicable.
rubbing his face with one piece of her cloth.
Exactly. He is envisioning her in fire, half naked,
Because
in a Disney movie.
Because he knows, quote unquote, with the fear of God instilled in him, that is hell waiting for him to embrace it.
And that is like the second reason why he is so good, because he is such a despicable character, but he justifies every single horrible action he does in the fact that it is in God's name.
Yeah,
it is to rid the world of sin. It is
his
to rid
idea of
myself
sin.
of sin.
Which I say steps into the similarities of another character we're both going to delve into because he's on our list. But for Frollo, he swears he's doing right by God, so he enacts the most horrible things imaginable on everyone, no matter what.
Exactly. He is a despicable villain because he justifies everything he does. And in this age, like, I'm pretty sure, what is this, the 16th century? 17th century? In this age that the movie is set in, all that justification is valid. In his mind, and because he's in such a position of power, and because he is in such a religiously conscious age, everyone just has to go along with it.
What are you going to do? Stop the pious leader who has God in his ear?
Exactly.
Nobody can stop him, even his right hand indentured servant.
Exactly.
Quasimodo's his indentured servant, let's be honest.
And along with was it Phoebus? Phoebus, who is supposed to be his bodyguard. Mm-hmm. Phoebus hates everything he does, but he has no choice because he's his boss.
Yeah, he knows that his morals are so lined up, not correct, just lined up, that we know he can't really stop himself because he's trying to follow his own strict moral guidelines.
Exactly.
And it's terrifying to see him go about it so strictly.
He is the reason why, in my opinion, a lawful evil villain is the most terrifying.
Because they think they're following a rule. They think they are.
They are justified in their mind, so they will never back down.
I think that was what I was going to delve into in my Big Brother thing, was like, the rules are the rules, the law is the law, the government cannot be questioned because they're in your pocket, they're in your ear.
Chaotic villains can be tricked. Neutral villains can be sometimes
obstacle course. They can be
obstacle course. Lawful villains are they are a brick wall.
How do you question their morals? They have strict morals. They follow them to a T. How are you going to question that? They do despicable things. In their code of morals, that's not despicable. How can you reason with them? They might hold an absurd amount of power. How can you question the power? They follow all the rules. They haven't broken anything. They haven't, quote unquote, done anything wrong.
They make the rules, so how can they break any rules?
So how can you stop them? Brute force? Then you're the bad guy.
Exactly. He's
such a difficult thing to deconstruct that it makes it amazing.
To sum it up, the reason why he's my number 8 is because he is lawful evil, and he is the reason why lawful evil villains, in my opinion, are the most terrifying, because they are so hard to combat morally and just physically. Why is he your number 7? Just sum up a phrase.
As the most intimidating villain in the most dark scenes in Disney animation classics. I'm just tailing off of what you said. His scary, lawful, guided morality, morality, quote unquote.
There were a lot of Disney villains that I was thinking about, but every single time I was like, are they better than Frollo? No.
Even to his very spoilers, even to his very end, he was terrifying. Scar, you laughed at him by the end still because he was eaten by laughing cats. Like, he was intimidating. He was always lurking in the shadows. He was trying to.
But he had a wit about him. Frollo has a devil wit. That is not. It's not wit. It's evil wit.
Yes, he has fear. All of his evil is rooted in fear of himself. Like, he fears for his own sake because he thinks that if his actions aren't taken, then he will go to hell.
Exactly.
For Scar, it's just like, I will get power.
I want to.
Yeah.
Because I want to.
Because I'm evil. I have a face. I have a facial scarring, so I'm evil. Frollo, no scarring, no, other than like religious trauma from this position, being raised in this mentality, and then becoming the head of this, becoming all of the fear and evil that once controlled him. He can't escape it. He's internalized it, and now he has the fear of God instilled in him that he's going to drop down to hell if he does anything wrong. So the idea of any sort of pleasure or manipulation occurring to him is terrifying to him, and it's terrifying to see him avoid it so fiercely for us.
Exactly.
So that's why he's my number 7.
And he is your number 7. He is my number 8. And before we get into my number 7, let's just listen to the end of the song, because this is the best Disney song ever. Fight me. So operatic. Shadows and just everything is emotion. Just
The hooded figures of judgment.
yes. And this ending, it's so
Real Catholicism.
yeah.
You can see, if you can't tell, I perfectly timed the end of my sentence so that we could actually fade into that.
Exactly.
Can you believe I actually timed that perfectly? Oh, but yeah, you're number 8, my number 7, Claude Frollo.
Exactly.
Shout out to Moss Friend for contributing to my interest and like favorite Disney villain. Period.
Fair enough.
Fun too.
Fun too. You gotta love ads.
Man.
So,
man.
while this ad plays, I love that song.
How can you not?
Exactly. So, my number 7 is one that I hold very dear to my heart. It is Magneto.
Ooh.
Magneto. God. Well, to be fair, I need to narrow this down, because technically there are 2 Magnetos I could pull from. There is Michael Fassbender's, the young one from the prequels, and then there is is it Ian McKellen? Ian McKellen?
Yeah, Sir Ian McKellen.
For Ian McKellen from not the old movie, the originals.
The start and the middles every time. Good things can always start in the middle.
Exactly, and in my opinion, hot take as this may be, I love Michael Fassbender's. Michael Fassbender's Magneto is so good.
You like to see a Magneto in action, a young, spry, younger spry Magneto.
Even in Dark Phoenix, which I stand by is the worst X-Men movie. Origins is objectively the worst, but guilty pleasure. Dark Phoenix is the worst X-Men movie, but he's so freaking good.
I say Dark Phoenix is kind of like does the same thing as The Hobbit, where it's visually amazing. It just can't
a
match
good
up easily.
thing, but they just didn't know how exactly.
You just kind of got it soggy. You took a really good thing and it's kind of soggy.
But Michael Fassbender's Magneto in X-Men First Class, in my opinion, that gave me chill. That scene where he's in the bar with the 2 men and he's hunting down Shaw, and he sees the picture on the wall of the bar of the 2 men sitting behind him, sitting with Shaw in the picture, and something clicks in his head. I need I'm sorry. I need to show the scene. It's so good.
We got time.
I need to show the scene.
So you're gonna show me the bar scene.
The bar scene.
Cool. I feel like I need another run through for X-Men because it's one of those things where I feel like it was put on the back burner for a while for me. I don't think I've seen a single Fantastic Four movie. I don't think I'm missing much.
The first two Fantastic Four movies. The first one, boring. The second one, better. Some cool things, but overall, still bad.
You're telling me the bar's in hell for Fantastic Four movies?
And then there's Fantastic, which...
I love that everyone just collectively won't...
Because that's what the poster did!
And I mean, the movie deserves to be Fantastic. I'm sorry, hearing myself say it out loud, it's funny in my head, it's even funny. The Fantastic movie.
So this is the bar scene that This made Magneto one of my favorites.
Buenas tardes. Hello. No. Sí.
And it is all in different languages. So Magneto is in a bar, he's ordering a beer, and he looks next to him, and he sees the picture of the wall
Caspartino.
of the villain with the two guys in the bar sitting next to him.
It is just a little bit nicer to see like a younger Magneto at times.
Exactly, something clicks in his head. A bit of vengeance.
Deutsches Bier.
German beer.
Ja, ist Bitburger.
It's Bitburger. You like it?
No.
And the look on his face.
Das Beste.
The best.
You translate for Magneto, I translate for the other men.
Okay.
Deal? All right.
Was hat sie nach Argentinien?
What brings you to Argentina?
Och,
The climate. I'm a pig farmer.
Schweinebauer.
Oh no.
And the music too.
Bin Schneider.
Taylor.
Seit meiner
Since I was a
Kindheit.
boy.
Mein Vater,
My father made the finest suits in Dusseldorf.
meine Eltern.
My parents were from Dusseldorf.
Ah, ja.
Huh.
Wie ist der Name?
What were the names?
Sie hatten keinen.
They didn't have a name. We're just dubbing
Der
it.
Name wurde
It was
ihnen
taken
weggenommen.
away from them
Schweinebauern
by pig farmers
und Schneider.
and tailors. He knows.
The look on their face and the music too. As they're
He
just
knows.
drinking beer, just looking at it.
You just see this sweat running down the sides of their faces.
I've never seen a more nervous look as someone just drank a beer.
Oh man.
And then he turns over his wrist.
I was gonna say you wanna.
And the number.
It's a 6 number. It's 6 numbers.
Takes out a knife.
Blut und Ehre.
Blood and honor. Which would you carry first?
We were under orders.
Blood then.
Freeze, asshole! And the man. And he just
then he
moves the gun in the guy's hand
It's a Luger.
to the tailor. And then. Clack. Knife throw. Bring back.
He force pulls it magnetically. Yeah, you could.
Who? What are you? You don't have to translate anymore.
Let's just say I'm Frankenstein's monster.
Because Frankenstein's German.
I'm looking for my creator.
Oh,
That.
yes. He is. Oh. Because revenge motivates him in every single sense of the term. He is either motivated by revenge because of the man who killed his mother, or he is motivated by revenge because of everything humanity has done to the mutants.
As I say,
He
if you
feels
don't know
like a personal vendetta against humanity itself. He has a personal vendetta against the mutant who killed his mother. So he kills the mutant, then aims at humanity. And it's so good. And throughout X-Men First Class, his interactions with Xavier, and you see like their legitimate friendship, and then you see them break apart. It's so heartbreaking. It's so sad, but it's so awesome. And the music, Frank, I'm just gonna say right now, Frankenstein's monster, which is Magneto's theme in X-Men First Class, up there with the Imperial March. I love as a villain theme. I love it.
I can't really disagree with you. honestly.
The reason that
To that
Magneto
regard.
is my number 7 is because he is an Avenger. He is.
Actually, the actual Avengers, like the Nazi hunters who were Holocaust survivors. Like he's to a T, not like the event.
He's a literal Avenger. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah,
He's more an Avenger than the Marvel Avengers,
Exactly.
who
Like
didn't avenge anything until their 4th movie.
I think he embodies a lot of what Stan Lee really wanted. I think, especially as a a sign of the times written character, who is also timeless, but is
So-
also like this a never forget type of thing, especially from the view of a Holocaust survivor character.
Which now that they're probably going to reboot the X-Men movies for the MCU. How are they going to do that? Because
No Way Home style, I think.
no, but how are they going to do that? Because now Magneto would be what, almost 100 years old.
Mutants age slower, I thought.
They can.
Everyone,
all right, they can write that in.
Everyone has a soft regen when they bring Deadpool over. You know what they're gonna do? Spoilers, I guess, for what Thanos did to Deadpool in the comics. He gave him, more immortality, not just science or medically. He gave him like space immortality to prevent Deadpool from ever getting with death because Thanos loves death. Like
There is a literal character in the Marvel comics.
Death herself. Thanos fell in love with Death herself because he was a genocidal maniac. Not movie Thanos, because movie Thanos was like a monk who was previously
he was an actual
Character.
three-dimensional character, and Thanos was just
a force.
Thanos in the comics was just horny for death, and that's why he killed half the universe.
And didn't want Deadpool to get with her because Deadpool was already kind of immortal, so he made him like immortal, like deity level.
So, my number 7, Magneto, more specifically, Michael Fassbender's Magneto. Mm-hmm. So, going into your number 6.
My number 6, it is Golb, or the Lich from Adventure Time. Now,
Oh, I remember this guy.
the Lich specifically.
I
because,
remember the Lich.
You know how Vader is technically an arm of Palpatine? Mm-hmm. An arm of a bigger force. In Adventure Time, the god of chaos, or just chaos.
You got music for the Lich?
Yeah, I'm actually pulling it up right now.
Because I only said that because I don't remember if the Lich has a theme.
Butterflies and bees. I'm pulling it up, sorry. Add.
All right, so explain who the Lich is, and then explain why specifically he's number 6.
I say the Lich because he's my favorite. I just love his entire arc as a character.
Explain who he is, and then explain why.
If you don't know, Adventure Time is a post-apocalyptic story after the events of a nuclear war. It doesn't seem apparent until you really look.
Really think about it, and
Think
really
about
pay
what
attention
you
to the
see.
backgrounds and then the history and what people say.
Think about. Sorry, I'm just Island Song.
Just remember the Ice King's backstory. And
Tell me when you can hear this. Okay, there it is. Sorry, it was just my phone was like buffering for a minute, and the world was unplugged slightly on the dongle. For Adventure Time, though, in the opening, you might see an unexploded nuke actually burrowed in the ground. That is one of the only ones that did not go off. The Lich was pretty much born from that chaos. He was spawned by Chaos himself, aka Golb. Golb is a square-headed red figure similar to the god of Mars, Glob. Glob, they don't say, oh my god, it's oh my glob. If you look at a penny, there's some glob on it, actually. It's like, in glob we trust, because there's some glob on every coin. Like there's some glob on it if you look at it. Pretty much, though, Golb and the Lich, I have them together because they kind of they coexist together. I guess some spoilers for Adventure Time because the Lich has an arc, essentially. As Finn is the last human in this timeline, when we explore what could have happened, when we see Finn, if him and the humans survived long enough, which later on, do you care about spoilers that much?
no, I remember I've seen some Adventure Time.
It's just
I think
been a while.
I think I stopped. I think I just dropped off. I didn't stop watching. I just dropped off when they introduced the what if for like Fiona and what is it? Fiona and who is the girl version of Jake?
Cake.
Fiona and Cake. Yeah, I didn't stop watching after that. I want to make that perfectly clear. I didn't stop.
You just don't remember a lot?
I never stopped watching Adventure Time. I dropped off.
Gotcha.
Because me stop watching it would make people think, oh, I hate Adventure Time. That's why I stopped watching. No, I just dropped off.
Sorry, I
had other interests.
I gotta get Juke Bug in here for a reason.
Okay, so
the Lich is evil, straight up. Like, born from nothing but chaos. Literally, like, chaos birthed the Lich. The Lich is actually not entirely evil. It's just its host isn't evil. The Lich itself is a voice that will drag you to it. It's kind of like the dark side in that way. Pretty much for that.
I remember the Lich has one creepy calming voice.
Finn, fall, and then he just falls into the pit. His whole goal is to rebirth what happened when the bombs went off. I'm playing Juke Bug now on repeat. Hold on, there we go. For the Lich, though, his ability to manipulate everyone, be everyone's biggest fear, and he's not even the tip of the pyramid. He embraces an entire amazing arc of a fight throughout Adventure Time, and his end isn't unsatisfying. It's just eerie because you know he's not gone for real by then. He is the embodiment of I am all evil and you cannot stop me. You don't stop me. I only approach slower, which just means you only anticipate me like coming forth faster. I love Adventure Time's ability to step into the creepy no matter what. Yeah. And the Lich embodies a lot of how dark is this world, what happened, why is everything so terrifying.
The Lich is your number 6 because he is chaos incarnate and you can never be rid of him.
He is the spawn of chaos incarnate. The only reason chaos exists is to provoke when peace happens, because chaos's only awakening is when peace occurs.
Chaos soon cometh.
Yes.
Or something like that. I'm paraphrasing very much.
But yeah, for me, it's the Lich, which is technically an arm of Golb, who is chaos itself. The Lich is evil itself. Yeah. And all are dragged slowly to the Lich's evil. So yeah, I like the Lich from Adventure Time. He is my number 6.
All right. My number 6 is Ramses.
King Ramses.
King Ramses. Specifically from the Prince of Egypt. Mm-hmm. Not 10 Commandments, which I know a lot of our older audience is going to be mad at that, but
sorry,
I'm not a fan of the 10 Commandments over the Prince of Egypt, because Prince of Egypt, in my opinion, apart from me growing up with it, I feel like it added humanity to all of its characters. All of the characters from the 10 Commandments were very stoic. They were not idealized persons. They were impossible people to be compared to.
Sainthood. They were like sainthood.
They were saints in their own different regards. All of the people in Prince of Egypt are people. They have loves. They joke around with each other. They have desires. They love each other. And this is where Ramses comes in from Prince of Egypt, because he truly loves Moses. He views him as a true brother, even when Moses comes back and tries to tell him to let his people go. At first, Ramses thinks he's joking, because why would his brother just come back to try to bring down his empire after he knows how much he's wanted his empire to come up in his father's eyes? So why would he just get rid of it? And when everything comes to a head in their first argument, and he finally realizes why Moses has come back to actually free the slaves, the look on Ramses' face, it goes from confusion to heartbreak to frustration to sadness and then pure anger.
This is a Hans Zimmer music.
Yeah, this is all Hans Zimmer's music.
I smelled it.
And just that is all of those expressions in just 10 seconds of animation. Hand-drawn animation. 10 seconds manages to pull off 5 different emotions without a single word. Ramses is such an interesting character because he is a human character. He actively does not want to be evil. It's just the world he grew up in, and it's the world, and he has had so much frustration brought up. He is brought up with so much frustration in his eyes, trying to live up to his father's expectations, even when his father is dead. He tries to bring up a legacy bigger than him. And when Moses is brought back and wants to free all the slaves, he just risks everything that he has thought of, that everything Ramses has thought of, everything that he wants for himself, everything that he wants for his son. And when the 10th plague happens, because, Bible, the 10 plagues, and that's why all the slaves were freed from Egypt. When the 10th plague happens and all the firstborns of Egypt die, including Ramses' son, and that's when he finally says, "You and your people have my permission to go." That is, I'm not gonna lie. Every time I see that scene, I tear up. I tear up because we know him. We know Ramses, and he's not a relatable character, but he's identifiable. Like,
That is such a good way to put it. Sorry, like, he's not relatable, he's identifiable. Like, he has so much depth. He is not flat.
This is the scene. These are the images of the scene of Ramses' son's death, and it's just
telling. I have chills. It is telling.
And the heartbreak in both Moses and Ramses. Moses for having to be brought to do this to his own brother, and Ramses just pure frustration and anger and sadness at his son's death, at the fact that his brother, who he loves and has been brought up with for what, 18 years, 20 years, 30 years, the fact that he would do this, and just everything breaks for him. His life is over now. There is no reason anymore. He has no legacy because Moses has taken that away from him, both his son and his kingdom. There is nothing left for him.
The use of telling a story with simply light, framing, and silhouette.
Yeah.
Without dialogue, without anything.
Ramses is my number 6 because he's human.
He is pain. He
is a villain, but only because we don't know because we can't step into his shoes. I feel like if we did, if we grew up with the knowledge that he had, all the bias that he's grown up with, we would feel the same.
You understand.
We understand him. We don't agree with him. We understand him. That's why he's my number 6. And that's why I always jump between Lion King and Prince of Egypt as which is my favorite animated movie.
Mm-hmm. I see that.
So that is my number 6. We're going to get into number 5.
That is beautiful.
Number 5.
Ooh, hold on. I just need to... Sorry. I usually have these lined up, but I was, like, getting into what you were saying. Mm-hmm. Agni. Ooh. You're going to like this. You ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, give it to me. Well,
engage. My
number 5. I'm gonna bring this up a bit. Well, that's the computer, so that does nothing.
You silly goose. Prince Zuko from The Last Airbender.
Okay, I need to say this. The only reason he's on my list is because he's an anti-hero.
But no. Now you listen here. Season 1.
Okay, fair enough.
Zuko.
Fair enough.
Up until Ba Sing Se, that is a villain. That is a unhinged animal. He is feral. He is guided, though.
He will do anything he can to restore his honor.
You watch just season 1 Zuko. You tell me that is not evil. That is not raised in evil. That is not born to be evil. To the point where if he ever tries to turn, that his guilt, his disrespect that he feels towards himself and others, he's shameful, and it rips him apart because that is where he draws all of his hate and power from, and it burns. Where he holds his power, it burns him, and he holds it inside. That is why he has the most hate burning him up.
His need for honor, his pure frustration and anger often puts him at odds with his own crew. But even his own crew know it's not his fault. It's just the fact that he knows what he has to do in order to regain his own father's love.
Now, can we talk about what it took? Oh no, it unplugged.
No,
Agni
Kai.
I elbowed the Agni Kai. I'm sorry.
No.
The amount of pain it took to undo and try to do any sort of self-reparations. Oh
Exactly.
my.
So
It almost killed him. He literally went into a sick fever in his attempt to try to undo a lot of what he just learned. It ate him up and made him fever up and sickened. He was so internalized in his own hate and shame that it almost killed him, literally. Multiple times, whether it was interactions. To the point where any kind force in his life, he pushed away.
Happy birthday, my son. If only I could have helped you.
This hurts.
You can say what you want.
Now,
Leaves on the vine, falling so slow, like fragile, tiny shells, drifting in the foam.
Turn that down. I'm gonna cry. Turn it down. Turn that down. It hurts. But yeah, for that, Zuko has such a depth of pain and self-restoration of his honor and kindness to the point where it almost killed him. Seriously, but in Ba Sing Se, when he was...
Oh, absolutely. He was almost going to die because he turned good for a second.
Now, the dichotomy of that, a little bit of poison is enough. Poison stops when the dose is small enough to heal you. A small bit of making himself vulnerable and trying to open himself up almost killed him. It literally almost got him killed multiple times by the Avatar crew.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he tried to open himself up and immediately something intervened, whether it was Azula or whether it was Katara making him feel left open, or his instant haste of his goal to take down the Avatar.
So what is the one phrase explanation for why Zuko's your number 5? One phrase.
Conflict.
He is the conflicted villain.
Yes, and it is all internal, but we see it bleed out of him.
Okay, so before we get into my number 5, I need, while we're on the subject of Avatar, I'm going to turn this down, and I'm going to turn down my mic, and I'm going to raise yours.
Okay.
And I want you to say this into your mic. Nikki King, please watch Avatar, The Last Airbender, in its entirety. It gets better. Say it now.
Mrs. King, Billy's mom, Nikki, watch Avatar. You were able to watch the Clone Wars, right? Mm-hmm. Watch Avatar. You will cry harder, and you will understand why everyone keeps begging you to watch it. And that's just coming from me. Just saying.
Yes.
So I speak on behalf of anyone who's watched Avatar when I say watch Avatar.
Exactly.
Like, stay in for the long run. Some things might seem childish at first. A lot of things are like that. Even Rebels. Like, it's some things...
She watched Rebels. She watched the first couple episodes of Rebels.
It's kind of like how a child will get bored at a show that was originally intended for adults and then directed at kids. The other way, it's just as difficult. But when you're open-minded enough and come around to it, trust me, it's worth it in the long run, I promise.
Exactly. So,
yeah, my number 5, Prince Zuko.
My number 5. So, are you listening?
I don't know. I'll ask.
Okay.
Oh, are you listening?
Because she go like this.
Who is it?
Negan. From Walking Dead.
No way.
He has no music, but he has this line.
He hid in one of my trucks and machine gunned a bunch of my men down, and I brought him home, safe and sound.
And a Venom spaghetti.
Where's his hat? Where's his hat?
Where's I? There you go.
Not important.
Okay, so Negan is the most. Okay, so I'm just gonna get the phrase out of the way. Negan is the charismatic villain.
Ooh.
He commands every single frame of film and digital he is on in Walking Dead. The way Jeffrey Dean Morgan walks, the way he talks, the way he just commands every single presence. He is a funny villain, he is an evil villain, but he's also such a human villain too. When Carl comes to the sanctuary where all of his men are, Carl being Rick Grimes, the main character's son. When he comes to his home with hostility in mind, Negan not only just respects him right off the gate for having the balls to come alone and try to kill him, but he also brings him into his house, and when Carl is made to take off his eye patch and reveal like the little scarred eye socket that he has. Negan at first makes fun of it and says, "Oh man, you're making me sick right now," like a bully. He sees Carl like dip down his head, and Negan just changes his entire expression, like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean that." He goes.
That's so human for a villain.
Exactly, and. But
no villain does that.
But at the same time, a couple episodes later, when he's in Rick Grimes' home, he just goes back to being a hilarious villain again. He sees one of the people of Rick Grimes' community, and she's saying that they're all starving, and she's a heavyset woman, and he just looks at her and says, "Starving? You?"
He's violently realistic, knows he has the option not to say things, but who's going to stop him? Who's going to? Like,
exactly. And he has morals to him because he has morals to him because not only does he respect Carl, but he also respects Rick enough to know when he's trying to be conned by someone in Rick's community so that guy can be brought up as the leader and Rick can die. Negan sees this and says, "You know what your problem is? You got no guts." And then stabs him in the gut.
He would later find out he did in fact have guts, but not metaphorical guts.
He respects Rick. He respects Rick in that way because he knows Rick will do the job that he has intended for him. And along with that, there was also the little bit where Sasha, one of Rick's crew, was imprisoned, and one of the guards was about to have his way with her. Negan comes in and says, "Oh, we don't allow that," and just makes fun of the guy, terrifies him, and says, "I know you're sorry. I know." Stabs him in the throat. Like,
based.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, you're a horrible person. You killed Glenn, but I respect you, and I like you now. As the series goes on, you're like, I like him. No,
I'm not supposed to.
You're the villain.
Don't stop doing that. But oh no, it's horrible. Stop. Oh, I can't stop watching. Oh my.
And I think I can agree. I think all Walking Dead fans can agree. Negan was best when he was the villain. As he got into being sort of like an ally for the community, his character arc did start to go down. I still love him, but his entertainment value went down. But
you kind of
villain Negan.
As I say, you didn't want him to unvillainize himself.
He needed to be the villain because he's so entertaining as the villain. He is the charismatic villain. That's why he's my number 5.
Nice. So your number 5 is Negan from Walking Dead.
Exactly. What is your number 4?
Oh man, my number 4. Hold up. Let me pull this up. Theme. THEME. Let me give you a little something. Nope, that's my speaker. Come on. My number. It's still not it. Come on. My number. Give me 5 seconds. I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
It's probably something much more unexpected.
Unexpected.
There we go. Jesus.
Not unwelcomed.
from Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Frieza. Oh, yeah.
I wanted to put Frieza
Sorry for the
on
loading
my
screen
list.
delay.
I wanted to put Frieza on my list, but something about him, I was like, nah. All these other villains are like somewhat better, but man, I will not lie. Frieza is my favorite Dragon Ball villain. I will not lie.
He serves as a perfect, I could do good, but I won't. But laser just pierces someone.
All of these Saiyans are doing so well for my kingdom.
I don't,
Kill them all.
You're all doing the job I asked you to. I don't want to watch you anymore. Bye.
Bye, monkeys.
Death Ball for the Saiyans. Bye bye. Boop, and he just blasts them out of existence.
Until Dragon Ball, until Broly, the movie Broly, Resurrection F was my favorite Dragon Ball movie. So good.
Resurrection F.
Resurrection F.
Dragon Ball Z movie, technically. By technicality.
By technicality.
It is the cusp of super.
And his theme in that movie, I think, I'm guessing this is the theme from Super.
It's Golden Frieza.
The theme from Resurrection F, in my opinion, his theme, much better. Much more terrifying. This is
more
a
like,
rock theme. The theme from Resurrection F, terrifying.
For a super theme, this is more of a Z theme to me because it's like that epic rock. Like, I am golden now. I'm no longer bulky or long-headed.
He's so easily hateable, but unlike so many easily hateable villains, he has the bite to back up the bark.
And when he doesn't want to, he likes to toy with anything. He will toy with anything and anyone, no matter how much it provokes to him. Even Broly, a stray laser killed your father, and then he's like, "No, wait, soon, kill the Saiyan." And then he just gets smashed apart. He survives completely fine though. I don't want to imagine a live-action Frieza. I mean that in the nicest way possible. I'm sorry. It's just
I think there is concept art that is good, like this concept art of first form Frieza. I think is legitimately creepy.
I get that. I think
there
he
are
should
also
be
other
on the creepier end, but not too uncanny, which I think is the one thing he suffers from. I think his eyes shouldn't be as human, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's one that I remember.
To me, Frieza he should be made of like silicone for the most. He should look like he's made of silicone until he goes gold.
This is the one that I'm thinking of.
Oh, I like that. It's kind of like what are the
He's a serpent. He
the-
looks like a serpent.
what are the Silent Scream dudes called? Only what's her name could see them in Doctor Who.
Oh,
The Silence?
Silence. Yeah. it's
Yeah,
called Silence.
I would kind of want him to look like that more, just with a mouth.
I honestly think that the lack of mouth would make him creepier.
Or if he had like a Joker lips, because he has like natural lipstick on him. But yeah, Frieza serves as I am evil, I was raised evil, I act evil, and given the opportunity to not be evil, I
will not take it.
I would rather go to hell. Just don't play those kiddie happy songs again. I like Frieza a lot.
Frieza's amazing.
He's not actually my favorite Dragon Ball villain necessarily. My favorite is Cell, honestly. Like just Cell's
Cell's a close second for me.
Cell
Cell's a close second.
Saga is probably just my favorite saga. Period.
I think it should have stopped after the Cell Saga.
You just don't like Boo, or do you think Boo could have been a super?
I think most of the Boo arc complete filler.
Majin Vegeta. Filler's not.
Majin Vegeta in Super Saiyan 3, awesome, maybe worth it, but as a whole, like even Dragon Ball Z Kai, which is known for cutting out the filler, still most of it was filler.
Yeah, I can get that. They really tried to add up from nothing instead of subtracting too much. You know.
Like, okay, we made Gohan the most powerful being of this franchise. What do you mean we're supposed to keep going? This is the logical progression of Dragon Ball Z. We started out with Gohan being surprisingly powerful, and now he's confirmed to be the most powerful. Where do we go from? Oh,
What you could have done is, well, he's the descendant of the best hero Saiyan, which is totally backwards because Saiyans are naturally evil. Let's be real honest with it.
They eat their victims.
They're natural savages, and they're a warrior race. They fight by nature. It's literally in their nature. Goku is only a good guy because he's brain damaged.
Yep.
Gohan is a good guy because he's got his humanity, and because he was raised to be human.
Broly as an infant not knowing where he was, who he was, on a planet full of horrifying creatures.
Giant monsters.
His first thought was not only to kill one of the monsters,
And then
but eat it.
And then befriend the one that tried to kill him since he was born, basically.
Which was adorable, and which
Very
is
sad.
the reason why he's not in my villains category.
He's
'Cause
not a
he
villain.
would
He's
be.
a victim.
He
He's not a
would be.
villain. He's not a villain. He's a victim.
He's
Victim of circumstance.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy, man.
You're not good guy, but you're a good guy. But yeah, I just like Frieza for his despicable. Yet I don't do it, but also I want to see what you're gonna do, so do it.
One word phrase.
Despicable.
He is the despicable villain.
Yes.
My number 4. Mm-hmm. You all knew this was coming. If you know me, you all knew a character from this franchise was coming.
I wonder. Could it be maybe a duck? Are you a Whovian, Billy? I'm not sure. You don't seem like a Doctor Who fan to me.
I know, but I made an exception for this villain. The Master from Doctor Who.
Dun 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 dun.
Oh,
Hey, you notice his theme is an inversion of the Doctor Who theme?
Yes.
Because he's a violent reflection of the hero once again.
yes.
You see, that's a big thing.
Now with the Master, you have to be very specific because a lot of things in Doctor Who, they go by generationally. There's regenerations. More specifically, I don't count Missy as a villain because she has a whole character arc that she goes from villain to anti-hero. The Master I'm talking about is John Sims' Master from the 10th Doctor's era. He so freaking funny and so freaking terrifying. The End of Time, in my opinion, the 10th Doctor's regeneration story, is my favorite Doctor Who story of all time, and he is absolutely terrifying in that. He is insane. He is he in The End of Time, the Master, might be the most insane villain ever portrayed in Doctor Who. And the editing and just his movements and mannerisms and how he eats is so savage, and the editing is so manic, and it just all adds up to an amazingly insane, horrifying, awesome villain. He is a mastermind like Gus, but he is I can actually just describe it in one combination. He is the mastermind of Gus and the insanity of the Joker mixed together to create the most terrifying version of Sherlock Holmes Moriarty.
Oh, that is scary.
Yeah. And he also has the theme and just the
Bum 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 bum, but like in a panicked way, not in an epic way.
the amount of times I've done the drum beat tapping just by instinct in middle school. It was freaky. Because I just did that by instinct because of how much I loved him as the villain. Just
Dun, 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 dun,
well, like with my pencil on my
Yep.
desk, as I was thinking like,
dun, 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 dun. Oh yeah. and
that's
then
how I
you
knew I was obsessed, but I did not care. Obsession is part of my personality.
Pride. Take pride in your freaking nerd. You're a nerd, you know that?
I've-
Take pride, but you're a nerd, you know that?
And also, he has such a history with the Doctor. They were best friends on Gallifrey, but just looking into a gap in the fabric of reality, which is what all Time Lords are supposed to do, and they all have different reactions. His reaction, he went insane. That tragedy to him, and because of the 4 drum beats in his head, that drove him insane. And all he wants to do is find it. He wants to either get rid of it or find the source of why.
Is it his hearts? It's dun 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 dun
It's
dun
a
dun
s-
dun
nope.
dun dun dun.
It's a signal from Gallifrey to link them from the Time War to the present day, so that they can have a way out.
You think it is also? You think that signal is supposed to be linked to? It's from Time Lords because that's how their heartbeat sounds. Because it would be
Yep.
dun 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 dun
Yep.
dun 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 dun. Like
Yep, they say it in the episode. A rhythm of 4, the heartbeat of a Time Lord.
it's like poetry. It rhymes.
The Master, in my opinion, is my number 4 because he is because he is insanely smart. In every meaning of the phrase, he is insanely smart.
I get that.
We're gonna go over our time, but sorry, we love villains. We're gonna go over our time. So hate to break it.
Honestly, I mean, can you really get mad?
Yeah, especially with now that we are in the top 3, we are in the quote unquote worst of the worst. So, Dalton, who's number 3?
My number 3. God, this keeps happening. It keeps unplugging as soon as I hit play because I tap my phone and it comes out.
Is it Joss Whedon?
Joss Whedon. You gonna help me out here?
The world is on.
The world is on.
Yeah, go ahead. Who's your number 3?
This thing is still flickering, so tell me if you hear this. There we go. You serious? I just had it going. My number 3 went. My number 3.
My number 3.
I'll give you a hint. It's gold, blue, and gold, blue, and purple.
Thanos.
Destiny arrives. Sorry, I'm just trying to prep that to be even cooler. Now,
Wow, what's this? What is it? I know it's a version. It's a version of the Infinity War
it's
trailer. but-
Voidoid's version.
Ooh.
I really hope it's not like a hard remix though, because that would be obnoxious.
Well, that's why we can always lower. All right, so give us your
Thanos.
give us.
Movie Thanos exclusively because
yeah.
he is complex. He has depth. You were sobbing. I was staring off into space.
I was in shock, and then sobbing.
I was just stuck in shock overnight, essentially. I couldn't move in my seat. Everyone around me just kind of, even the people who get up before the end credits, they couldn't move. They were shocked beyond shock.
The most hilarious thing about Infinity War is that by the end of it, when the first credit rolled, I'm pretty sure it was directed by the Russo brothers. Name one person whose reaction wasn't, "That's it? What?
Where's the Where's the
happy ending?"
No quips, no happy endings. Destiny
We'll save that for
arrives.
Endgame. We'll save that for Endgame where it's overly quippy.
I think the only thing was like a tiny piece of text that said the Avengers will return in 2020 something. His theory, his stupid, incorrect theory, it's so dumb and wrong. From Malthus, Malthus, philosopher, a theorist, who's the basis for Thanos' dumb theory, because he tried to draw some stupid peasant-killing line that would kill so many people over time more than any other line of dialogue. I'm just going to read off for you his stupid, incorrect, wrong theory. Therefore, I repeat. That was the response. Sorry. This stupid theorist tried to say that because of society's growth in population, resources, it is a stagnant line that would only go in a straight line. But our population spikes upwards. He was wrong. You know why? Food supplies advance and regulate themselves with the advancement of technology. And I believe Mark Twain, or Jonathan Swift, responded to his terrible, stupid theory that was so incorrect and wrong and killed so many people because of, peasantry, because they were, it was utilitarian. It was to provoke people to not serve a greater purpose. A modest proposal by Jonathan Swift. Therefore, I repeat, let no man talk to me of these and the like expedients, till he hath at least some glimpse of hope, that there will ever be some hearty and sincere attempt to put them into practice. In his response, in the full response, I just wanted to read the hardest line from it. He told him, "You idiot, technology helps us to have better food supplies to serve everyone. You can duplicate resources with the advancement."
So what is the reason why he's your number 3? The reason.
Because he follows, once again, the strict moral code and honors it to a T. He goes from violent mad titan of his roots and follows strict science. Although he's wrong, he is so straight in line with it and follows what he believes to be his destiny. And it is intimidating. And we pretty much discussed a lot of this already before. So to sum it up, Thanos in one word: destiny.
Destiny arrives all the same. Mm-hmm. I can actually quote a lot of Infinity War like word for word, especially the opening.
Because I think you have it trauma burned into your dialogue, you know?
The amount of times I've watched it is, I would say unhealthy, but I don't care.
But yeah, my number 3, Thanos.
My number 3.
Your number 3. Surprised we didn't bring this up earlier.
Is the Valeska brothers. The Valeska brothers from Gotham who go on to be the Joker. The show Gotham who go on to be the Joker.
Just for context, there are how many?
There are 2.
2 Jokers.
There is Jerome Valeska and Jeremiah Valeska.
Who are coincident? Are they twins or they
Yep.
just play? Oh,
Twins.
that makes so much more sense because I was like, they look like the same person. Oh, they're twins.
Exactly. I chose them because I know this is going to be a hot take. Because everyone has their favorite Joker, but they more or less sort into one category. You love Joaquin Phoenix, you love Heath Ledger, you love Jack Nicholson, you love you love Mark Hamill.
For me, it's Jack Nicholson.
You love Jack Nicholson, you love some of the more popular ones. Maybe it's just the fact that I want to be an individual, but it's also the fact that I legitimately think the Jokers in this show are nailed.
In Gotham.
In Gotham, nailed. Cameron Monaghan,
Underdog.
perfect. He is unparalleled in my opinion in terms of Joker actors. Joaquin Phoenix brought a sympathy to the Joker. Both versions that Cameron played bring both the comedy of the Joker, the perfect anarchist comedy, and the psychology of the Joker. It's just the combination of the two.
A lot of what you explained in the Batman episode, especially too, just specifically
Exactly.
for a Joker.
Exactly. Jerome is all of the comedy and the anarchist nature of the Joker, and he is just anarchy incarnate, and he will do anything as long as it's funny. He has the most twisted sense of humor, so he will do anything as long as it's funny to him. As in, he is willing to save the life of Bruce Wayne after he saved him just because it's funny. He could kill him, but it would be funnier if he saved him.
For the sake of the joke, can you not kill him?
Exactly. And then there is also Jeremiah Valeska, his brother, who would go on to... It's the most stupid thing ever. DC did not allow Gotham to use the name Joker and did not allow them to paint Jeremiah's hair a certain shade of green.
That is so stingy. That is so picky.
Exactly. But even then, you saw the clip that I showed you. Jeremiah Valeska is the Joker.
Yes.
Like that one smile that you saw in his introduction.
Yes.
Hello, Bruce.
Perfect to a T.
And
Sorry.
just his relationship with Bruce Wayne. He nails the perfect Bruce Wayne Batman Joker relationship where Joker always feels like, no, we're the same person. We have a connection between us. You can be my best friend. I will do whatever it takes in order for us to be closer together, including bring back your parents so I can kill them.
Yeah.
And he has the wit to him. He doesn't have the necessarily immediately. At first, you don't think that he has the Joker wit and dark humor to him, but he grows into it as the series goes on. He becomes the Joker. And one of his final lines, as we know Jeremiah, one of his final lines to Bruce is, "You need me. I'm the answer to your life's question. Without me, you're just a joke without a punchline."
Ironic.
And then he falls into the vat of acid.
And then we get our...
And we get Joker.
We get our Clown Prince of Crime. You can't say Crown Prince of Crime. You can't say Joker. Sorry.
Exactly.
Sorry. You're getting lawsuited now.
I love Jeremiah Valeska. I love Jerome Valeska. Basically, Cameron Monaghan my favorite actor to ever play the Joker. I would love to see him play the Joker in a movie. If Barry, what's his name from the Batman from the deleted scenes and the end credits and the ending scene, which should have been cut out just so that they can put the deleted scene in the movie. It should have been cut out. If he doesn't want to come back, which I can't see why he wouldn't want to come back, Cameron Monaghan. There you go.
As long as there's no behind the scenes issues, unless there is, and then Cameron Monaghan.
Ezra Miller.
Flashpoint, I guess. Another Flashpoint. We're gonna get 2 of them.
As in, Grant Gustin might be the new movie Flash.
I don't see any problem with that personally.
Bit old, but sure.
I mean, he doesn't really.
He's getting older for the role.
I was gonna say he doesn't look it though. You know, you can de-age anyone, but you can't de-mustache anyone apparently.
Sure. Yeah.
Sorry, I had to sneak that one in. No Flashboy can save that.
All right, so
Your number.
the Valeska brothers are my number 3 because there is no better description than perfect Joker. The combination of the two, perfect. You got the comedy, you got the psychology, you got the Joker.
So your number 3.
The Valeska brothers from Gotham.
Beautiful. My number 2. The father of Los Pollos Hermanos himself.
Yep.
Gustavo Fring.
Yep. Go ahead.
Well, pretty much for all the reasons that I already stated in the earlier discussion, intimidation, psychopathy down to a knife's blade. He switches instantly, and the second they clash, horror, absolute terrifying. I don't know how else to explain because I feel like you and I already pretty much nailed it.
Yeah.
For the most part, pretty much Gus is scary. He is beyond scary. He is like downright horrifying to a T. And I just think that like, excuse me. Sorry, I had to play this.
Better Call Saul. Okay.
Since you broke bad, I called Saul.
I love it. I love it.
But you can call me sus. Man, I don't know how to explain beyond how the scene in Mexico after he has his head held down next to his business partner who is that flashback, dude. Giancarlo Esposito ages beautifully no matter what. He doesn't age, he just gets better. He just gets better, let's be honest.
When he looks at the man, at the cartel leader who had his brother killed.
Don Julio.
Yep, when he looks at him as the guy is dying, the hatred. Pure.
That is when the line is cut between Los Pollos Man and Gus Fring.
That is the only time we see Gus Fring show emotion.
That wasn't like part of his character he plays.
Exactly, that pure anger, the hatred of you killed my brother, and I'm going to enjoy this.
My name is Inigo Montoya of Los Pollos Hermanos. You
we
killed my business associate. Prepare to die.
We both know if we do a top 10 favorite heroes list, we both know that's going to be on mine.
Inigo Montoya?
Yeah, we both know that's going to be on
My
mine.
name is Inigo Montoya who killed my father. Prepare to die.
I had a shirt of that.
I know, I saw it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Gustavo Fring, numero 2, obviously.
All right, so
Beautiful.
and the one word to describe him would be
Pollo.
Chicken. Well, my dad.
Or you can call me sus.
My dad doesn't refer to him as Gus Fring or Giancarlo Esposito or Moff Gideon. He refers to him as Chicken Man.
Yeah, or Colonel Sanders, because that's what Hank called him.
Spanish Chicken Man.
Pollo Man.
Pollo Man.
La Pollo Man. Or
All right,
Le
so
Pollo Man.
my number 2, my runner-up for my favorite villain. Is Wawa!
That's perfect.
I hate you, ads.
Fuel up with the Wawa. Another. Oh my God. It's Wawa.
It's Wawa. No, it's not Wawa. It is
I wonder.
Thanos. I know what it's like to lose. Feel so desperately that you're right.
Yet to fail all the same.
It's frightening, isn't it? Turns the legs to jelly. But I ask you, what lengths would you go to? Dread it? Run from it? Destiny arrives all the same. Now it's
thought it was me.
Or should I say, I am.
And they snap, you know, with the snap of my fingers.
So
Yeah.
Thanos is my favorite for a couple of reasons. One, he is physically imposing.
Mm-hmm.
Without the use of any Infinity Stones, he beat the Hulk in hand-to-hand combat.
He is as strong as Hulk, but smarter.
Yeah, exactly. He has strategy on his side when it comes to fighting, to physical fighting. And when he doesn't need to have a physical confrontation, he has the stones. More importantly, he has his mind. He is not.
He's an 8-foot purple calculator.
He is not a sympathetic character. He is an understandable character. He is like Ramses in that way, because the scenes with him and Gamora, he truly loves Gamora. He truly views her as a daughter, and he truly wants her to be on his side.
Not Nebula.
And when she's constantly lying to him, and when he has to kill her to get the Soul Stone, heartbreak. He is crying.
He's broken, and
He is broken.
Red Skull just yeah.
The big bad of a saga's worth of buildup. Heartbroken. Heartbroken because in order to win, he has to kill the person he loves most, his daughter. And when he finally completes his task, when he finally wins, he has to confront her. In the Soul Stone, he has to confront her. She said,
Did you do it?
"Yes,
What did it cost?
everything."
And that is a broken man.
As a broken man, and in my opinion, I hate the fact that they killed that version of Thanos off in Infinity War and then replaced him with a far less complex one. But to be fair, even that version of Thanos, like when Captain Marvel destroys his ship, like the horror on his face, like, oh my god,
Those were like my family members.
I might lose.
Yeah. Also,
No.
that was pre-Monk Thanos. That was pre
That
Destiny
was
driven.
that was Warlord Thanos.
That was the Mad Titan, and even then, he still carried that name, but strutted like he was an honorable man, because he knew no one was going to mess with him.
And the amount of respect he shows Doctor Strange, Tony Stark, Loki.
But yet none of his henchmen knew. Sorry, just for Stark. That's the only thing that confused me.
Like, I think we can all agree, the moment he stabbed Tony, everyone's heart stopped for a second.
Everyone started hyperventilating.
You have my respect, Stark. When I'm done, half of humanity will still be alive. I hope they remember you. God, he's such a good villain. He's so good. He's so intimidating. He's so understandable too. He is the perfect combination of he has as much bark as he has bite with Frieza, mixed with the sympathetic nature of Ramses.
And I'd say his honorable mention is Killmonger, as a close, very.
I would say Wenwu.
Wenwu.
I like Wenwu. I like Wenwu more than Killmonger.
I like Killmonger more than Wenwu.
Fair enough. My one phrase description of Thanos. My number 2. Mad Titan who didn't want to be a Titan.
That's a one-sentence description.
Phrase. The Mad Titan.
What phrase? Sorry.
The unwilling Mad Titan. He didn't want to be a Titan, but he had to do it.
He was driven to it.
Because if he didn't, no one else would.
And he knew he was the only one who could. And he was.
The hardest choices require the strongest wills.
And damn, does he have a will. Yeah. So yeah, your number 2?
Thanos.
The Mad Titan. And now for our...
We go on to our number 1s.
You want to say it on 3?
Well, I think I have to prepare the music because we haven't discussed this.
We didn't say anything before this.
We knew.
We just met in the brain zone.
We knew who it was
10
because
hours. Oh my god.
10 hours of this music, and we're going to enjoy every single
All
minute.
of us. You can say it with us in 3.
Wait a minute. We have to make sure there is no ad.
Wow. Number 1.
There's an ad. Got it.
It's the number 1
It's
is
llamas.
It's llamas again.
Llamas.
Wawas and llamas.
Wawas and llamas.
And cheese. Number one.
But our actual number one is
Wawas, llamas, and cheese. 3, 2, 1. Then the drama set in.
why isn't it playing?
Why isn't it playing?
That's weird.
Here, I got you. 3. Him.
Oh, that's why. Never mind. Because I was doing the
I was
world.
gonna say you had my phone up all the way. I'm like,
Ready?
3, 2, 1.
Jar Jar.
Darth Binks. That is.
Yeah,
So-
it's Vader.
Yeah.
It's Vader. It has to be Vader. It either has to be Thanos, Joker, or Vader.
Or,
That is-
or Palpatine. I kind of fit Palpatine somewhere, but Vader. No, Vader is the villain.
Vader is the icon.
Yes. The Shadow Hand is Palpatine, but Vader is the villain.
Do you know why I think everyone views him as the best villain? Because everyone knows how to film him correctly. Mm-hmm. Have you ever noticed that whenever he's in a scene, if he's alone, he is the most darkly dressed person in the room.
He is the most staunch figure.
There are people in green, there are people in white, the backgrounds are gray, but he is the only one that is pure black.
Mm-hmm.
Or he is either he's in a room alone and he is centered.
Yeah, he never follows thirds. He's always center
Exactly.
because everything is around him.
There's a reason why, even though New Hope, not my favorite, his entrance is iconic because he's surrounded by white stormtroopers, white walls, and he steps out of the door in
a white hallway.
in a white hallway, completely dressed in black. So he
He
stands
always-
out more.
There's always a bright white light behind him so that his silhouette scares you.
Exactly. He is filmed specifically with the intention of being intimidating.
And it always works perfectly.
Exactly. And just like Frieza and Thanos, he has the bark to match the bite. For one, James Earl Jones, man.
I'm getting tired of doing this. You wanna I'm your father, or what do you want this time, George? Please. I'm very sleepy. It's my bedtime.
And even though most of his fight scenes in the original trilogy aren't choreographed the best, the thematic elements of the fights, whether it's the fight with his master on the Death Star, Obi-Wan, or it's him trying to see, or it's in Empire Strikes Back, and he's trying to see just how powerful is Luke. I can toy with him. Oh, he's actually more powerful. Okay, I'll go more all out. He's actually powerful. Okay, I'll hammer him.
He is the source embodiment of all of these categories that we say fit a character so well. He has a line down him between Anakin and him fighting internally. He has the trauma to back it. He has the haste. He has the influence.
He has the history, the motivation,
the intimidation.
Why.
He
has
has
the why he's doing this.
He's got the all. He's got the design, the character, the trauma, the influence, the
action.
historical connotation, everything. He has it all. That is
He has
why
the power of the voice. He has the power of the visuals. He has the power of the physicality.
no need for context, and when context is there, it's beautiful.
Exactly.
He fits everything that you need. He checks all the boxes that we have to check boxes for.
I'm just going to say it right now. My favorite scene involving Darth Vader does not include James Earl Jones. Star Wars Rebels.
Oh.
Where it's spoilers for Rebels because
spoilers.
Rebels is legitimately amazing.
Yeah.
It starts out rough, gets amazing.
Once again, starts out childish, totally worth it if you like it.
Exactly. Spoilers for Rebels in 5, 4,
spoilers,
3, 2,
Yeah, like a month
1.
ago.
Rebels, where he fights Ahsoka, and Ahsoka lands a blow on him, and his mask is ripped, and you see a little bit of Anakin in it, and he's just saying Ahsoka, Ahsoka, and it's not James Earl Jones anymore. It's Matt Lanter, the voice actor for Anakin in the Clone Wars, and he just stands up, and Ahsoka says, "I won't leave you, not this time," and just the thought process in his one eye, just the thought process, like
A glimpse of light finally peering into the suit.
she still cares. My friend still cares about me.
They didn't leave me.
And then the hatred comes back, and it's not James Earl Jones' voices anymore. It's Anakin's voice. It's purely Anakin, pure his hatred. No dark side, just his hatred. Then you will die.
That is when Vader was all in by this point.
Yeah. You knew there was no coming back for Anakin the moment that happened. There was a chance that he could come back. There was a glimmer of light.
It was a passing by glimmer of light. It was not a stop. It passed and now it's gone. You cannot go back to it.
There was the scene of humanity when he realized that he killed Padme. And then when that happens, and you see the humanity in his eyes, you realize that's not humanity. That's just what's left.
That's the genocidal maniac is out and free, unchained. Only chained by commands. That is Vader.
And the hallway scene, man.
The hallway scene.
We can speak about all the thematic elements we want.
Open up, you know.
We can speak about all the thematic elements we want. That's
A Vader
that's still
episode.
probably going to be one of the. That's still objectively probably the best Vader scene.
Yes, in Star Wars, period.
Yeah, that is power right there.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Thanos. You can wipe out half the universe. Walk down a hall like that. Unless you do that,
Nope.
you're not the best villain.
Exactly. And that is why Vader is top.
Vader is the Emperor in our eyes.
Number one.
He is the greatest villain of all time. So, with that in mind, would you like to count down your 10 favorite? Just a recap.
Quick recap. Number 10, Big Brother, 1984. Number 9, Ghidorah, Godzilla. Number 8, Skull Kid, Majora's Mask. Number 7, Claude Frollo, Hunchback of Notre Dame. Number 6, Gulb, Adventure Time. Number 5, Zuko, Avatar. Number 4, Frieza, Dragon Ball. Number 3, Thanos, Infinity War. Number 2, Gustavo Fring, Breaking Bad. Number 1, Vader, Star Wars.
And my top 10, going from number 10, Anton Chigurh. Number 9, Gustavo Fring. Number 8, Judge Claude Frollo. Number 7, Magneto. Number 6, Ramses. Number 5, Negan. Number 4, The Master. Number 3, the Valeska brothers. Number 2, Thanos. Of course, number 1, Darth Vader. So, with that said, next time on Real Wreckers, what do you want to do?
It might be time. It might.
I don't know.
Yeah, we've been pretty busy.
We've been very busy. He's been extremely busy. I've been busy.
Busy.
I've been busy. I've been working on a couple film festivals actually.
So we'll
Not
probably,
to name drop, but I'm working on a couple film festivals.
I've been working on a film festival.
Yeah.
So we're just probably going to randomly pop it on the story when something really good comes up based on whatever news happens for movies, TV, nerd stuff.
I have
An idea?
an idea.
Let's hear it.
Well, a hero is only as good as their villain.
Mm-hmm.
Think we should do the opposite?
Best heroes?
Best heroes of all time.
Ooh, that's going to be intense.
Because the villains are pretty easy. Everyone loves a good villain.
They fit strongly in the category, but a good hero and what
good hero-
defines a good hero?
A good hero is hard to come by. A hero that often outshines the villain. That's hard to come by. We are going to narrow it down to our 10 favorite heroes of all time. Whether they're protagonists or full-on quest going on heroes.
And maybe anti-heroes, maybe. Or we'll discuss where that line is drawn.
We'll discuss
where
where
that
the line is
blur occurs.
Exactly, like how we discussed where the line between horror villains and full-on villains go.
And yeah, we'll delve into that more next time on Real Wreckers.
Exactly. So make sure to follow us on our Instagram at Real Wreckers. That is REEL_RECKERS.
And our TikTok at Real Wreckers. That's REELRECKERS. Just updated it on all of our polls and for a shout out next time. I'm trying to get more stuff going for it.
Yeah. Until next time, I'm Billy.
And I'm Dalton.
And you can consider this real.
Wrecked. Villany.